me?
Do I feel lucky? Well, do you, punk?
Good morning, Vietnam! I love the smell of napalm in the morning.
You're gonna need a bigger boat.
I feel the need for speed.
I wish I knew how to quit you.
Love means never having to say you're sorry.
You do. You'll shoot your eye out, kid.
Happy Monday, moviegoers. Welcome to episode 237, and welcome to the Big Lebowski, and welcome to the Cine-Men movie podcast. I am your host, Juan, and I'm joined by the dudes. Craig.
Yo.
Zach.
What's up?
It is the middle of March already, guys. Can you guys believe that already? We're just like less than 2 weeks away from April, and then you have the whole April showers bring May flowers, some shit like that. Like, are you guys ready? Summertime is right around the corner. Summertime blockbusters, big blockbuster movies are right around the corner. It's almost here. But as far as the weekend goes, how's everybody's weekend gone, Zach?
Went pretty good. Basically stayed at home all weekend, but it was laid back, chill. It was nice.
Laid back, chill. Sometimes you need those laid back and chill weekends. But how do you guys feel whenever it's like 90 degrees outside or 80 degrees, but you still want to have a chill weekend and not go outside? It's tough, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, we talking about having good weather?
Yeah, you have good weather,
Yeah.
but you don't feel like doing anything. You just want to stay in.
Yeah,
Yep.
no, it was that way, 2 weeks ago, and then it's been cold, and I've been like, I want to go outside. So hopefully it'll get consistent, and I can have those days where I can pick and choose.
Craig, what about you? Did you have a good weekend?
Yeah, went to a birthday party. My sister had her baby.
Nice.
I have not gone up to see them as they're in Enid at the Air Force Base.
Man, your
and,
sister had a baby.
Yeah, dude.
That's insane.
Yeah, she
Boy or
waited
girl?
longer than me too. It's a boy. His name is Lil Bennett.
Lil Bennett.
Dude's feet. So like on the sheet, you have the sheet, and it's like you can place their feet here. It went from the bottom up to the wording at the top, like where it finished.
So
And,
so she had you.
No, this dude's feet is going to be bigger than mine. He got duck feet, little paddles.
Well, that's insane, especially knowing how long I've known you, that your little sister just had a baby. Congratulations. I'm sure we're all excited. The bottom two don't know her, but at least a big congratulations for me. Happy, healthy baby, as long as that's all that matters. And speaking of dudes, we're joined by another dude. We're joined by a dudette. Edward, how are you? How are you, Walter? I mean, Ed.
Yeah. This whole episode, Ed's going to be known as Walter. Just go ahead and deal with it, Ed.
You were John Goodman in that movie. Over the line. Talking about his
we
guns
all
and his veterans.
we all agree.
We were all texting. Ed, is this Ed?
Every time John Goodman was on screen, I was like, that's exactly what Ed would say. Yep, every single, the way, the mannerisms and everything.
Shut the hell up, Donnie.
Shut the hell up, Zach.
Yeah.
I'm kidding.
If you guys did not know what we're talking about, that's what we're talking about today. The Big Lebowski, 25th anniversary this month. Ed finally got to talk about Princess Brides. He also finally got to talk about Donnie Darko. The Big Lebowski is not my favorite movie, but it's one of my favorite Jeff Bridges movie. And I think how many of you, only Ed has seen this movie, right?
No, I've seen it.
This is my first time.
First time for Craig too, right? Yeah?
First
okay,
time.
That's what it was. I've been trying to get it on for a while. We finally got to talk about it. We're talking about it today. A look back last week, guys. If you did not catch last week's episode, go back and listen. It was fun. We were joined by special guest Franco. We talked Scream 6, which is now the highest grossing Scream film of all time. So go back and listen to it. You can check us out on the social media as well, facebook.com/the Cine-Men Movie Podcast. The Instagram is all one word, Cine-Men Movie Podcast. And then the Twitter is @Cine-Men405. Emails, keep sending in those emails. We're gonna have a girthy email section in just 2 weeks. Top 5 plus 5 of 2023. It is insane with how many emails are
Already here.
getting sent in. As far as their best of 2022 movies. I'm excited to see you guys' top 10 list, to be honest with you, because we'll talk about it again in 2 weeks. But 2022 just felt weird to me. You either had big, giant box office movies that were good, or that was pretty much it. I feel like there was no in between this year.
You got some solid streaming movies.
I don't know about that. I had a hard time finding some good streaming movies, but we'll talk about it for sure in a few weeks. Speaking of stuff that we've watched, guys, let's talk about some recent watches. It's been a while since we've all four been together and talked some recent watches. So, Ed, we'll start with you. Walter, we'll start with you. I'm just messing with you. What are some recent watches you've gotten to do so far?
Man, yeah, I got to watch that one, The Big Lebowski. I've been doing still South Park, still on that binge. I think we're on season 16 now. For sure 15, I think 16.
I thought you were on season 255, but yeah.
There's 26. It's on its 26th season right now. Still been playing the old, I'm sorry, Hogwarts and... First off, you need one of these, but that, and then I
have one of those.
That don't work. It just lets in sun or closes it. That's all. But
Lumos. It's Lumos. Lumos
or Nox. Or Nox. And then WWE 2K23. So
that's what I'm talking about.
Is it good? Is it good?
I mean, it's kind of Madden-ish now. It's not too much different than 22. But
whoa!
I said not too much different.
No, there's a big difference. Wait till that first patch update comes out. But yeah, there's a big difference compared to 22 to 23.
What would you say the differences are? Just because you're an extremely avid fan.
I don't think we have a big. We don't have long enough episodes. Two things. You can add cut scenes before, after a match, during universe mode. And then universe mode is where it's at for me. So there's a big difference for that one. And then the other big difference is war games. You can have
that one was cool.
It's a match that has been in the business for 30 plus years, and it's the first time making its debut inside of a video game. So that's pretty cool. I guess I'll kick off my recent watches with that. Then I've been the same as well, playing some WWE 2K23. It's WrestleMania season, so I have been keeping up and watching with a bunch of wrestling as well. But as far as movies go, guys, I talked about it a little bit last week. I kind of lost my niche. I lost my my mojo to watch movies, and I've kind of been slowly getting that back. Since last week's episode, I've watched White Man's Burden with John Travolta. If you guys haven't seen it, I recommend it. It's not as good as I thought it was, but I still checked it. This is how I got my mojo back. In less than 5 days, I watched The Godfather Part 1, Part 2, and Part 3. Coraline in 4K, and The Founder, and The Big Lebowski for today's episode. And then the movie I really want to spend some time on is I watched Meet the Fockers yesterday too. The Whale. Oh,
Meet the what?
Meet the Whale? I mean, no, not Meet the Whale. Just Meet the Whale. I watched The Whale, and man, we're going to talk about it in 3 weeks. And
just save your thoughts. Save your thoughts.
I'll save my thoughts. But yeah, Godfather 1, 2, and 3. If I am ever in that slump, those are the 3 movies I snag to get myself back in the mood, if that makes sense.
Did you binge watch them or watch them just one at a time?
I watched them. I watched one on Tuesday, one on Wednesday, one on Thursday.
There you go.
And it was good. it felt good to be back. Craig, what about you? What'd you check out? Anything?
So I have been dabbing in.
I got one of those pins too, little dab pin.
um,
Life changer.
Letterkenny, just a little bit here and there. And then I've been on the NHL grind. I got a little the club with 3 or 4 people in there, and we've been playing sixes. We're in the club finals right now. Been on the Naraka grind as well. It's a kind of old age Japanese battle royale type game.
Battle Royale?
Battle Royale.
Now that's a movie
that I've been talking. I said we need to do it.
We're gonna do it in April. Let's do it.
And then just kind of other things here and there. March Madness, Sooner softball.
Man,
how about them horns, Daddy?
The whole bracket situation is awesome to watch.
Yeah, March Madness has really been it's been solid so far. I told Johnny I was able to catch all of day one and bits and pieces of later days, but it's been solid so far.
I was like, Texas beat Colgate. I was like, if we lost to a fucking toothpaste team, then it's time to hang it up. But they beat Colgate, then they beat Penn State. I don't know who they play next, to be honest with you.
I can tell you right here.
But I know they're going into the Sweet 16, right?
They play Xavier.
Xavier.
Yeah.
So first they had a toothpaste team. Now they got the fucking X-Men they got to worry about.
WWE.
Oh my god.
The Xavier Musketeers.
Fuck. They're throwing the X-Men and the Three Musketeers at us? That's how you know they don't want Texas in the fucking Final Four.
I actually have a fire bracket so far. I'm at 88% picked right.
We got Texas going Final Four.
I got Texas in the Final Four.
That's what I'm talking about.
And I have them. I have them losing to. I had them losing to Kansas.
Ain't happening now.
Which they beat Kansas in the Big 12 championship, so I was like, man, I really should go with Texas, but I just can't go with that fucking orange.
We'll see. Craig, you have anything else you want to recommend?
Not off the top of my head. No.
Let's get on top of Zach. Zach, you have anything you want to mention?
It turned into a whole different episode. No, just like I said, last couple of weeks, I've just been going through my top 15 movies of the year, just see what's gonna 1 through 10, basically. I did go see 65, the Adam Driver dinosaur movie. It was fine. Nothing to.
That's what happens when Adam Driver does things that's not Oscar-ish.
Oh, I thought you were going to say that wasn't Star Wars. It's like, did you see the last 2 Star Wars movies? Or yeah,
phenomenal.
You know what? I'm having such a hard time with this list. This is probably the most difficult list I've tried to put together since we've started this whole best of the year, the best of 2022.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And this has been one of the hardest ones I've tried to put together. It's going to be interesting to see where everybody's movies from 2022 line up. What else, Zach? Do you have anything else you want to recommend?
No, really, that's about it. Like I said, just been watching movies.
Did anybody go see Shazam opening weekend?
I tried to. I didn't have the time.
Same here, but I just don't have the want.
I had the want early on. I don't have it right now.
Maybe if I watch the first one again. I don't know.
Like I said with the Black Adam episode, I just until James Gunn's movies really start coming to effect, I don't really see the point. I just need
another Batman. The Batman.
Oh, we're getting it. But speaking of getting it, it's our favorite segment. It's the top 5. This week, guys, the top 5 is back. We had a fun top 5 last week. Me and Zach did. This week, we're talking our top 5 Jeff Bridges movies. He's a legendary actor. He's been in all different kinds of movies. So I think it's going to be fun talking about Jeff Bridges for a little bit. Does anybody have any honorable mentions before we get into number 5?
No.
No?
I'm gonna say.
Go ahead,
Sorry,
Greg.
Zach.
Go ahead.
I'm gonna say Hell or High Water and K-Pax.
K-Pax. I'm going to run through mine right quick. Zach, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. Men Who Stare at Goats, Tron 2, Seabiscuit, and my official honorable mention, Iron Man.
Man, Seabiscuit is a underrated movie.
Seabiscuit's good.
Well, I say underrated. Didn't it win some awards?
I know it was nominated. It was nominated for like 7 awards. I don't know if it won anything.
It came out during fucking Chicago. Didn't Chicago like fucking win everything that year?
Oh, it got 7 nominations and didn't win nothing. Thanks, Chicago.
Sounds like Elvis.
My 2 honorable mentions are Bad Times at the El Royale, and my official honorable mention is Crazy Heart.
Man. Well, Zach, that goes into we'll start off with my number 5. My number 5 is going to be The Bad Times at the El Royale.
El Royale.
That was a fun movie. I can't believe we even did an episode on it like year 1 or year 2. But it was kind of a fun conversation, fun little movie. That's my number 5.
Yeah.
Craig, number 5 for you?
My number 5, I'm following suit with you. Bad Times at the Casino, El Royale. It wasn't, the movie itself wasn't what I expected it to be. But Jeff Bridges in that role that he was in, he made the movie better. So it's my number 5.
Edward, number 5 for you.
Number 5 for me, I'm going to go ahead and go with The Seventh Son. Personally liked it. I mean, it's magic and all that good junk. So
The Seventh Son of the Seventh Son.
Junk.
But
that movie gets a lot of flack. But I remember like having fun with that movie.
Yeah, it is a fun movie. I mean, it's not going to be like an Oscar winner or something like that, but it can be a fun, weekend Saturday night movie or whatever.
There you go.
I like it.
Edward and Magic.
Always.
Zach, number 5?
Number 5, I didn't know all you guys had an affinity for the movie. Number 5 is Seabiscuit. It's celebrating 20 years this year, believe it or not.
Jesus.
Really good film. I agree with you, Craig. It's underrated. No one ever talks about it anymore. It's, a lot of movies about horse racing aren't really that fun, but I remember it being really fun. Tobey Maguire, Elizabeth Banks is in it. I think Jeff Bridges plays like the owner of Seabiscuit, and it's a very good film.
I don't want to say it's underrated. I want to say it's forgotten. I think that's the better word.
I think it's forgotten. Yeah, I would agree with that.
The Seventh Son of the Seventh Son. Number 4 for me.
Hell with Big Lebowski. Let's just review The Seventh Son.
Number 4 for me is going to be Crazy Heart. He plays, a country and western singer. He, at the end of his rope, they say that he is. But I believe, if my notes are correct, it's directed by Bradley Cooper. I think.
Which one? The Seventh Son?
No, Crazy Heart.
No, I don't think it was directed by Bradley Cooper.
Oh, Scott Cooper. My bad.
Scott Cooper. the Cooper brothers.
That was his brother, Scott Cooper. But I remember this movie just being really emotional. And if you guys like movies like, there's some other movies about made-up fictional musicians, like Rockstar with Mark Wahlberg. It's pretty fun movies. I remember watching this when it first came out, and it's an hour and 52 minutes. It flies by. Jeff Bridges, I thought, didn't he win Best Performance, or he got nominated for Best Actor?
No, he won Best Actor for that.
Did he win? Oh, okay. Yeah. It's a good movie, and I highly recommend it. Number 4 for me is Crazy Heart. Correct. Number 4 for you?
Number 4 for me is True Grit. I think that role fits his at that age that he was when the movie came out. It fits him perfectly, being that kind of old, rugged Western kind of guy. So number 4 for me is True Grit.
True Grit. The seventh son of the seventh son. Edward, number 4 for you.
I'm gonna ride Craig's coattails on that with True Grit, man.
Riding Craig?
His coattails.
Oh,
yeah.
okay, my bad.
Yeah. Get your mind out of the gutter, especially with the gutter balls, sir.
Seventh son.
If it wasn't for that girl, this would be ranked higher. But since she was that annoying in there,
you know who that is, right?
Who?
Haley Steinfeld.
The girl in it's Haley Steinfeld from Hawkeye.
Well, I mean, hopefully she's not, telling everybody about her lawyer and that she's going to sue everybody and stuff. So
she's telling everybody about the seventh son.
Less annoying.
Yeah,
but that would be ranked higher if that was not there.
Zach, number 4 for you.
Number 4, Iron Man. He's the first MCU villain that we got. I think, honestly, Obadiah is kind of they're all cartoonist characters, but this one, if it wasn't Jeff Bridges in that as that character, I don't think that character would have worked as good. And he had good chemistry with Robert Downey Jr., especially in the beginning, and by the time you get to the end of the film, what happens. So.
The scene that sticks out for me of Jeff Bridges and Iron Man is when the little scientist is like, "This can't be built," and he gets mad.
Tony Stark.
Exactly, He's like, Tony Stark built this in a cave with his bare hands. And that made me feel uncomfortable. So yeah, that's a good bring up. It's a good number 4.
Number 4.
Number 3 for me is going to be the film we're talking about today, so I'm not going to spend too much time on it. The Big Lebowski. Dude. So while Craig is a little,
I'm good.
I had a good day again.
So number 3 for me.
She's excited to talk about Jeff Bridges, dude.
Yeah,
she wants to talk about the dude.
Number 3 for me is going to be Iron Man. I agree with you. It's the first actual MCU villain that we get. It's not somebody who has superpowers. It's not somebody who's genetically mutated. It's just somebody who has devious plans of his own, and it fits the world of Iron Man extremely well. And I think Jeff Bridges really elevated not only that character but Iron Man. So Tony Stark's character.
Did you let her watch The Dude with you today or yesterday? No.
The Dude does not abide.
Edward, number 3 for you.
Number 3 for me, I'm going to have to go with OG Tron.
It's not
great
OG.
premise.
The original Tron.
Yeah, 1982 Tron.
Highly unwatchable, but continue.
I think it had a good concept. Was just technology was not there. It's a fun kind of little imagination movie in a way. I mean, they were trying something. So, you got to give them a little bit of props for that at least. So, yeah.
The concept of being stuck inside of a video game is pretty cool. Like, could you imagine being stuck inside 2K23 WWE and you got fucking...
I don't want to get dunked on every day.
In your ass. You're like, you get stuck inside of WWE and you're like, you got the fucking boogeyman dropping worms on you or some shit. Where you're stuck inside NBA, like Craig said, you're stuck inside NBA 2K23.
I didn't see that.
And then all of a sudden you got shot coming up like, dong, and you get knocking you inside with his dong.
Easy.
I mean, his shoe.
Or, you got free, oh my God. Ovachin going ahead and coming at you from Shell.
Ed would like to be stuck inside Hogwarts.
Yeah, he would. Yeah.
Zach, number 3 for you.
You have to, guys. You have to don't mind Johnny. He was doing cocaine with a cocaine bear today, so it's all right. Number three is actually going to be Jeff Bridges' first TV show he's ever done, The Old Man, which
we're not doing TV shows.
I don't give a damn. It's one of his first TV show he ever did.
Well, that's just like your opinion, man.
Well, bro, dude, you're gonna have to deal with it. But no, his first TV show he's ever done on FX. It got renewed for a second season. Really good show. Very, not so much Jason Bourne, but very spyish or CIA thriller type thing. Him and John Lithgow give two really good performances. And I'm excited to see what happens next. So number 3 is The Old Man.
Nice. Number 2 for me is going to be True Grit. I was never a big Western fan, but after watching movies like Unforgiven, True Grit, 310 to Yuma, I just got on a huge Western kick, and it all started with True Grit. His performance in that movie, Matt Damon, Josh Brolin too, I believe, is in there. It's just an overall fun movie. Another Coen Brothers movie, technically. And just a fun movie. And even if you're not into westerns, that movie highly likable. So number 2 for me is True Grit remake. Craig, number 2 for you.
Number 2 for me is a movie from 2006 called Stick It. It's about gymnastics. He is a gym owner of gymnastics, and he agrees to take the main character in because of, I think, some like deal with her parents or something, because they offered to pay some money because she was in trouble and whatnot. But it's a great cast. It's very funny, and he sets the tone for the entire movie just because he is that douchey. He produces that aura of just this douchey gym owner who kind of knows it all, and it's just a great movie.
Is this a Disney Channel movie?
It's not. No.
No.
It's a very good movie though. You guys will laugh, and it's a good movie.
Stick It, huh? We'll find it. We'll look at it. Ed, number 2 for you.
Number 2, I'm going to go ahead and go with Tron 2. One of the better ones, in my opinion, that I like with Jeff Bridges in it. I thought he did great, playing a younger CGI'd self that was, as well as his current self, non-CGI'd. If you haven't seen Tron 2, for that matter, if you haven't even seen Tron, that's fine. You can go see Tron 2 and be just fine.
All I remember from Tron 2 is CGI Jeff Bridges. That's the only thing I remember from that movie.
And the soundtrack was amazing.
Yeah, the soundtrack was awesome because I think they had a lot of Daft Punk.
It was Daft Punk curated
songs.
it. Yeah.
But on top of that, then they actually had the technology, to do a lot of different, really poppy and bright stuff. And
good movies. I think they're both on Disney Plus too.
Probably. So yeah.
For you, number 1. No surprise here. It's Hell or High Water. My favorite Jeff Bridges movie. My favorite Jeff Bridges performance. I can go on and on. And we did in a whole episode. So that's my number 1. Hell or High Water. Craig, number 1 for you?
Number 1 for me is Tron Legacy. I just think to me personally, it's one of my favorite movies. I love the soundtrack. I love the environment that they created for that movie. And just him being that creator, that godfather figure in that world where he can just touch things and everything lights up and he's just super chill. And it's probably not his greatest performance, but it's a performance that I really thoroughly enjoyed.
Is that number 2 for you? I forgot I skipped you.
No, it's fine. I don't exist in this world, so it's fine. Number 2 is True Grit, and I can go ahead and do number 1 if you want.
What's number 1?
We're tied.
Are we?
High Water's number 1. Yeah.
That was number 2.
High Water.
We had the same 2 and 1.
Yeah.
How is it that Hell or High Water for you, even though it's like one of the movies that came in his later part of his career, he's it in that movie.
It.
Yeah.
He owns it, man. And like even the movie, he's a supporting character, and Chris Pine and Ben Foster. Are you okay? Those are our 2 leads, but when he's on screen, he steals the show, man. He's just so good in it.
Did he get nominated for supporting actor?
Yeah, he got nominated. Yeah.
Man.
Fortunately, didn't freaking win as per usual.
Yeah. So Zach gave us 2 and 1. My mistake. Ed, what'd you get at number 1? Finish us off.
Number one, I'm going to go ahead and do Iron Man for that matter. He played a very, very good opening villain as Jebediah, like y'all said, for the Iron Man debut for that matter. So yeah, that great work on that movie. Yeah.
I'm excited. All these Jeff Bridges movies that we were talking about is getting me hyped up to talk about the Big Lebowski. So believe it or not, that's what we are getting into is the Big Lebowski. Currently with an IMDb rating of 7.1, 8.1. Rotten Tomatoes is at 79%. The Metascore is at 71%. The Google users like it at 86%. With a release date of March 6, 1998, the box office it grossed a little over $47 million at the box office on just a $15 million budget. Ultimate LA slacker Jeff the Dude Lebowski is mistaken for a millionaire of the same name, seeks restitution for a rug ruined by debt collectors, enlisting his bowling buddies for help while trying to find the millionaire's missing wife. Starring Jeff Bridges, John Goodman, Julianne Moore, Steve Buscemi, David Huddleston, Philip Seymour Hoffman, Tara Reid, and John Turturro, written and directed by the Coen brothers. Let's start with it. This is also listed as IMDb's number 206 out of 250 movies that you must see in your lifetime. First time versus now. I'll go first. This was like a movie that I never saw before working at a movie shop. And then they're like, you have to see this. It's the Big Lebowski. It's the dude. And I watched it and I kind of like fell in love with it the first few times. And then this second time around watching it for this episode, I don't know if it's maybe because I was busy, but I had to stop it at one point and then I finished it back up. And it was kind of, I don't want to use the word a letdown, but it didn't feel as amazing as it was when I first watched it the first time. So, Ed, first time for you?
Yeah, first time for me.
Short words.
Hard watch.
No. No.
Hard watch. The dude is a dud.
Serious.
The dude is a dud for Ed. Craig, what about you? First time watch?
Yeah, first time watch. I like you, everybody. I think you had even mentioned to me that it was a good movie and I needed to watch it and that we were going to do an episode on it. I never got around to watching it. Even for this episode, I kind of dreaded the watch. And I was right. I should have went with my gut. This is probably... I will never watch this movie again.
Oh, wow.
It does nothing for me. It was a drag to get through. So, yeah.
The dude is a dud. Zach, a few short words.
No, like I was gonna do a joke, 10 out of 10, but no. The first time I saw it, I don't even know first time I saw this, but like this is a movie that, like, especially when you talk about the Coen brothers, you know, it's up there, top 3, maybe top 4, whatever. I don't hate this movie. I don't love this movie. You guys probably gonna know what I'm gonna give this by the end of this review, but I mean I think there are good moments in this movie, but like I agree with you, Craig. The pacing of it slows down in so many spots. I'm just like, let's just get to it, you know? And after a while, it just, especially the ending, you're just kind of like, I don't think anything was really resolved. And I feel like for Ed, this is like a No Country for Old Men situation where you're just like what the hell did I just watch?
I will watch.
You watched that before this?
No Country for Old Men is even yeah. I'll talk about that later. But No Country for Old
Ed,
Men is a masterpiece.
Ed, I think your mic's messing up.
Yeah, you're cutting in and out. We can't hear you.
You might have to leave and come back in or something.
So the first time, we got the first times out of the way. You got the narrator, the stranger, Sam Elliott, narrating the movie. The Wrong Lebowski. The movie opens up. You got the Wrong Lebowski. He ends up getting the shit kind of knocked out of him. They piss on his rug. So you open the film with boom. You already know they got the wrong guy. Let's talk about Jeff Bridges in this role as the dude. He even says it himself. He doesn't like to be called Jeff. He doesn't like to be called Lebowski. He's the dude. What'd you guys think of the whole dude concept with Jeff Lebowski? Craig looks like he didn't do it for you.
No,
I mean, I can kind of get it.
Go ahead, Zach.
It's like
Ed, you're still cutting in out really bad.
Really?
You're like talking and it's like delayed. We see your lips going before, so you might have to leave and come back in.
All right.
And you know what? Honestly, go ahead, Zach, about the dude.
I'll say in my opinion, the positives about this movie are some of the cast. I'll say specifically Jeff Bridges and John Goodman. We've already made the joke that Walter is essentially Ed in this movie. And that got me through some of the hard parts of this movie. But I will say, like, Jeff Bridges as his character, I mean, if this was made in today's world, it's a stoner comedy with Seth Rogen, basically, essentially. And like, there's so much of this movie that is like, I feel like it tries to be so elevated, like it's like a.
You think it's too meta?
Yeah, I think it's too meta, and I think it's just doing it. It's being meta for meta's sake, and it doesn't really have a point to it at certain points.
So I almost feel like if this movie was just a stoner comedy, hangout bowling, without the whole Lebowski versus Lebowski Tara Reid situation, I think this movie would probably be pretty watchable. This movie to me is still watchable. Don't get me wrong. I like The Big Lebowski. But this time around, I feel like it didn't need to be an hour and 55 minutes.
Yeah.
I feel
like this could have been like an hour and 30 and we would have been good.
Yeah. And I think that's what takes away from the lore of this movie being so rewatchable. And I know we all four might get so much flack for not really. I'm not hating on The Big Lebowski by all means. I just feel like it's, maybe 25 minutes too long, especially before watching it. I was watching it for fun. I was watching it for a laugh. This time around, I'm watching it for an episode and really digging into it and taking notes and, watching the performances. I gotta say, I feel bad for Steve Buscemi, at least his character Donnie in the movie, because everybody, shut the fuck up, Donnie. Shut up, Donnie. Did you guys hear the theory where everybody thinks Donnie died way before, like he was dead throughout the whole movie? Because supposedly the only one who acknowledges him in the movie is Walter.
No, I didn't know that was a theory. So
it's a theory that supposedly the only one that sees him and hears him is Walter. Nobody really technically.
That makes Ed Walter much more.
Nobody technically acknowledges Donnie other than Walter in the movie.
Man, so I mean, like, with what they're given,
real choppy.
Yeah, it's like robot and statically, and you're just behind and it's trying to catch up.
What'd you guys think of meeting Brant, Philip Seymour Hoffman? I think this is his biggest, second biggest role in the 90s behind Twister. I think he did Twister, then this was shortly after. What'd you guys think of seeing a young Philip Seymour Hoffman?
How's that?
I mean, that's better. Yeah, that's better.
Okay.
I mean, he fits the butler role, I guess. He just doesn't. He has no characterization to him. I mean, I know it's Philip Seymour Hoffman, and I know he's a good actor, but I mean, it's like, okay, like what's your, like, I know you're helping the old Lebowski get what he wants, but it's just.
I think what ruins his role in this movie for me is knowing that Philip Seymour Hoffman was so much more than what he was cast for in this movie. And
Yes.
it's like he was just a guy that they were like, okay, you're an extra. We need you in this role. You have a little bit bigger of a role than an extra, but you're not really that guy. And then you go and see Philip Seymour Hoffman have the career that he had, and you come back to it, and you're like, he's really limited to what this role is.
Yeah.
So I
would agree with that.
I think everybody's favorite character in this movie, and we can all probably raise our hand and say I think you have two people that you owe this movie being incredibly, remembrance for, and that's probably John Goodman and Jeff Bridges. I think I could watch those two characters just be in a movie together all day long. Especially, what do you guys think about the scene where the bowler crosses the line and John Goodman is like, cross the line, and he just goes from 0 to 60, and then he gets hotter and hotter. He pulls out the gun. I really enjoy scenes like that in this movie. What did you guys think of that scene?
I wanted more of the Jesus guy.
Oh, he's got his own movie.
He has his own movie, yeah.
It came out in 2020 called The Jesus Rolls. It's a spin-off sequel. I have it. Not very good.
And that's funny you say that, because I thought that character was terrible. Like, he was only in the movie for like maybe 10 minutes, but I thought he was awful.
I thought he was awful.
I will agree he's not that great of a character, but I think he's in a way necessary, just because it takes some of the tension off of it all that John Goodman brings.
Lean back, Ed. Lean back, Ed.
That it takes some of the tension that he brings, basically, that John Goodman's character brings, because, I mean, you've got one guy that's over there that's a pedo and is like, oh, I'm going to fuck you, and all that stuff, compared to a different guy who's on the total opposite of that and just pulls out in 1911.
Hey, Ed, you're still breaking out really bad for some reason. I don't know.
That's the connection. It's got to be the connection.
Okay.
It's like you're talking, your lips are moving, and then the voices is trying to catch up.
It's like a Japanese movie.
Can you log in with your phone?
I don't know. It didn't do this last week. There's got to be something kind of different.
Shouldn't be.
Yeah, it's really like staticky.
It's staticky, robotic-y. It lags behind, and then it tries to catch up.
Okay, I might have to go then, I guess. Or
what's your grade for the movie, if you can?
5 on a good day.
5
on a good day.
Okay.
Sorry, guys, got some technical difficulties. If you didn't hear that, Ed's given The Big Lebowski a 5. 5 stars out of 10, by the way. That's not 5 out of 5. It's 5 out of 10.
Hopefully, Ed can take some of the heat off of me. So.
Oh no, it's about to get a whole lot worse.
Ed, I don't know. Hopefully, you get that situated by next week. We'll see you for the Fablemans next Monday.
All right, man.
That sucks. He was talking, he was good, and then all of a sudden it just went weird. So,
it's one of the things that kind of suck when you're going live.
Remotely,
we got technical difficulties, but we'll live to fight another day. Ed will be back next week for the Fablemans. I kind of agree with Craig. I thought Jesus was a funny character. Especially when he's like blowing kisses to everybody, and then you see Donnie turn around, he's like, what the? And then you just have that blank stare of Walter, like, come blow me a kiss, you have so many good scenes with Walter and Jeff that I would have thought those scenes would save this movie for somebody like Ed or somebody like Craig. I personally, that shocks the hell out of me. I thought Ed was gonna love this movie because of how his taste is in certain comedies.
Yeah, that's true.
I really thought he was going to love this movie. I wish he could still come back on and talk. Ed, if you're there, try to come back. If you're still listening, try to fix your thing. I really thought he was going to like this movie. What do you think about the car? The dude's car throughout the whole movie just gets blasted,
destroyed.
I will say the funny thing about this entire movie is it's just a guy that gets caught up because of his last name.
Yeah.
And he's like, I just want my rug back, dude. And you know, he gets dragged into all this stuff, and the
Well,
Autobahn German dudes that are supposedly this hitman group, but they're really just some guys who are trying to get rich because they caught a whiff of the situation.
you know, I think what the biggest I'll just say my biggest problem with the movie now that I'm thinking about it. I feel like the gimmick of the dude it's just mistaken identity. I just think it's a concept that it doesn't, like you said, Johnny, it doesn't need an hour and 52 hour movie. You know, you could have gotten away with an hour and 30 minutes, maybe even less than that. Because I feel like the gimmick just kind of goes on too much after a while. It almost gets to the point where, like, even when John Goodman is beating the hell out of that car, and that it's another mistaken identity, and that other guy goes out and starts beating on the dude's car. It's just like, okay, it's the same gimmick, just told from a different perspective.
Yeah. Yeah, it is a
So,
little bit of a letdown. You know, watching it back this time, I was really super hyped for it. You know, I was excited to get everybody's thoughts. I was excited to talk about some of the funny scenes. You have Maud, played by
Julianne Moore.
Julianne Moore. I thought she was a fun character. And then I have it highlighted here. Walter's outbursts throughout
Yeah.
the entire movie, just like the scene where they find the kid's homework in the car, and they go confront the little kid.
Could it be? Could 20 years later, 25 years later, almost?
Yeah.
Could it be that stoner movies just aren't funny anymore because everything's pretty much legalized, at least to some degree in this country?
Now that you say that, I think that's a very interesting concept and conversation to bring up, because I have been showing, like, my girlfriend a lot of the movies that I grew up on, or a lot of the movies that I thought were funny or cult comedies, and Pineapple Express, The Big Lebowski, no movement whatsoever, not even not even a laugh. And I think that's a good bring up, Craig. That I kind of feel the same way. Not only that it's legalized, but maybe that comedy is just didn't age well. I even showed her Clerks. No laugh.
Well, so I feel like Pineapple Express and Jay and Silent Bob, to me, will never not be funny. It's just those characters, Kevin Smith and Jason. I can't remember his last name. Jason Mewes. That's just something that I grew up on. Not grew up on. I was able to see, and it had an impression on me. And I still think it's funny because of those characters and how they portrayed it. But I think just the generic stoner comedy. Not saying The Big Lebowski's generic. Don't come at me. But it's just you like, before it was like, oh, that guy's high, so we have this perception of him now. And now there's medicinal marijuana. There's people that it's just not. I don't think it's there anymore.
So do you think that it hasn't aged well, or do you just think that stoner comedies, because of it being all legalized, is just not funny?
We're used to it now. It's an everyday occurrence. It's not something that it's like, oh, we know this pothead Tommy down the street. It's like, no, your grandma could be smoking on marijuana right now because it's medical. It's medicinal.
Now that you bring that up, I'm going to ask you guys the same thing. I had a hard time getting some comedies together from the last 2 years about getting ready to put into my best of 2022. I can't find any comedies that are must see anymore.
Yeah, I mean,
is the comedy age film just going away?
I don't think it's going away. I just don't think we have the golden age people.
So I went and seen Scream 6. That's the first time I've been to a movie theater since December, right? I saw a comedy trailer for Jennifer Lawrence where she's like a hooker. She's kind of like a hooker look like.
Yeah, she's trying to get that teenager opened.
Yeah.
Before he goes to college.
I saw that trailer, and I laughed more in that trailer than I have any other trailer before that I can remember.
Yeah.
Is it still just a comedy has to be about sex and sex only for it to be funny?
No, I
No.
mean what was the one with Adam Driver and the James Bond guy, Daniel?
Oh, Logan. Oh,
Craig.
Logan Lucky.
Logan Lucky. That wasn't a
Yeah.
sex comedy, and it was funny.
You're talking about a movie 5-6 years ago already.
2016.
Yeah.
I mean, I put in just comedy movies of 2022. The first thing that came up was Everything Everywhere All at Once, which I don't.
That's not a
It's not
I don't
comedy.
really.
comedy.
That's not a comedy. I mean, the other comedies
It's
that
funny.
quote unquote is the Massive Talent movie with Nicolas Cage.
I mean, it's got funny moments, but it's not funny. It's not a comedy.
I probably the only true comedy that came out last year, unless I'm missing one, was The Lost City with Sandra Bullock and Channing Tatum.
Now that was funny. I did laugh a lot during that movie, but I feel like most comedies now are lined up for streaming only.
Yeah, I mean,
we haven't seen Cocaine Bear yet.
Oh, I'm not. Yeah,
I heard it was really good. Raunchiness sells, kind of. Yeah.
Yeah.
Bodies. Is that considered a dark comedy?
Yeah, probably.
I consider that a comedy.
Yeah, and then Ticket to Paradise with George Clooney and Julia Roberts. That's kind of a comedy. But like all the other comedies, are just kids movies.
That's a romantic comedy.
Yeah, but like Puss in Boots, The Bad Guys, Strange World, Super Pets. But those are all kids movies, so I don't know if you can really classify them as comedies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Ed, you're a comedy guy. What do you think? You were listening in on, obviously. Do you think that maybe some of the stoner comedy, like we were kind of talking about, is just not funny anymore? It's not aged with us.
I mean, honestly, a lot of it's still there, but I don't think the need for it or the want for it is there anymore. A lot of the ones that. Well, I mean, a lot of the ones that you had doing it, like, Seth Rogen, guys like that, or even like How High with Method Man and Redman, or anything like that. Apparently, they don't want to do those anymore.
Well, I mean, like Seth Rogen, we're going to be talking about him next week in The Fabelmans. I mean, that's a drama. I mean, I don't even know the last time he's done a comedy, to be honest, especially a stoner comedy.
I mean, he look at some of his last comedies. He even went out of the stoner range. He did that comedy with Barbra Streisand about his mom.
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
maybe
would you guys consider Bullet Train to be a comedy?
Okay, that's yes, I would.
That's an action comedy, but yeah.
Yeah,
I laughed with Bullet Train. I thought it was funny. I thought the chemistry with Lemon and Tangerine, I think was their names.
Yeah,
that was good.
You could even maybe point over to something like Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Yeah,
I think so many directors and comedy films and studios, maybe there's so much they're worried about what not to say because they're worried about cancel culture.
True.
Cancer culture.
Yeah, because the very last true comedy that I can remember seeing, like that was a lot of people wanted to go see in the theater, was like The Good Boys. And that was maybe like three years ago.
Yeah,
2019, I think.
Well, I mean, unless you really want to count Jackass Forever.
Oh yeah, that came out last year too.
I don't consider that a comedy though. That's just like they're doing stuff to make you laugh. Like it's not. I mean, it's a type of comedy, but like
it's more stunt comedy, I guess.
You're laughing at their pain, not really like. It's like,
I mean, technically
like under the umbrella.
Yeah.
I mean, technically, the last quote unquote comedy, I guess you could say, that Seth Rogen did was An American Pickle. It was that HBO Max original movie. It was weird. He did have a voice in the Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers that came out last year as well. But I mean, I just think he's just kind of. I mean, he's always going to be like the stoner comedy dude, but I just think he's just done with that. Like you said, Johnny, I just think, he wants to go on it. Like, you know how Jonah Hill he would do comedies and then he would work with Scorsese or do something like that. I think that's what Seth Rogen wants to do now.
What about? I mean, like all the comedy movies that I've seen lately are just going straight to streaming. Just like Eddie Murphy had that comedy with Jonah Hill.
Yeah,
I saw the trailers and it looks so awkward. But let's get back to a little bit of the
Big
Big
Lebowski.
Lebowski. What'd you guys think of the ferret scene where the ferret got in the tub? That was a real ferret. That was a real ferret, by the way.
That was kind of funny.
Animal rights get called on that one today, I bet.
Yeah. Can't do that. Not a real one, at least.
He only had 2 psychedelic trip scenes. What'd you guys think of the 2 psychedelic scenes where he was high, where he was like bowling and just looked like he was on shrooms both times? I feel like those 2 scenes could have been cut out.
I was confused when they came up. In all honesty, I didn't know what was going on. I didn't know why they came up. I didn't know where it was going. It just there's a lot of like, okay, why are we here moments in this movie for me.
Kind of like the car scene where Walter brings his dirty underpants. Like, it was funny, but why is he doing that? Why do we have that scene right here, right now?
That makes more sense, though, because he's doing a ringer, like they said. That makes more sense. So it's kind of a, gotcha, kind of thing. It makes sense for his character because his character is kind of loopy, but at the same time thinks he's just like
an
American badass or something.
What about the scene where Maude is trying to get impregnated by the dude? So he's like another
curveball.
Another curveball. Like, why is that in here? Kind of thing.
Yeah. I mean,
that's why you sent me to the doctor. Yeah, so I can get. Thank you.
It just
there's so many scenes in this entire movie that are full on just curveballs. That's why a lot of I don't know, man, because like some of the acting was good, some of the shots were good.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I mean, I feel like it doesn't. Like I said, the performances, like Jeff Bridges, especially Jeff Bridges and John Goodman, they're good. They're they bring. I think a lot of the comedic relief relies on their shoulders because they have such good chemistry.
He seemed like he was having fun bowling and being there mostly,
but no one cared. But that was like that was the only joke with Donnie. It was just like, shut the fuck up, Johnny. No one cares, or Donnie. No one cares. But like, so much of the movie, I agree with you guys. It's just like, why are we doing this? How does this connect? Like, what is the point of it? It's
like a GTA cheat code. It's everywhere.
GTA cheat code.
Yeah.
Walter's
Craig, how far did you get in this movie? But you're like, I can't. I'm done. Like, did you watch all of it, or just like got through it?
I watched all of it. About 30 minutes in, I was like, this isn't going anywhere for me. I kind of knew where it was going to go.
John Tree, whatever.
John Turturro. Yeah, Jesus.
No.
He's talking about Tree Hill.
Yeah, Tree Hill. That's the scene where I was like, okay, this movie has no direction. Like, this movie does not know where it wants to go at all.
There's no point to this.
Like, this thing is just.
It's like
everywhere, nowhere, and somewhere all at the same time.
It's like they had a direction, and then at some point they were like, let's just throw shit on the wall and see if it sticks.
Treehorn,
yeah. That's when it was just like, okay, this makes absolute zero sense to the director, let alone anybody else.
Well, and I would say, I think Ethan and Joel Coen, I think they're really good screenwriters. They know how to make a movie, but it's just, I feel like maybe this is a situation where one wanted one thing and one wanted the other, but they really couldn't have like a good balance of the two.
I mean,
does anybody know what the next movie that they did after this was?
I think it was Fargo, if I'm correct. I think it's Fargo.
Fargo was before this, I think.
That would be funny.
Because that would be interesting to know.
Oh, Brother, Where Art Thou? That was the next one that they did.
Wow. What a complete,
wow.
Wow. But
and that's weird because
at the end of the day, that's them.
And there are similarities in these two movies in how it's written, directed, kind of shown. But
Yeah.
I love Brother Where Art Thou, and
Yeah.
got to be honest with you, I could care less for The Big Lebowski.
Like, don't get me wrong, I don't understand why this has much of a cult following or much of a following at all.
Yeah,
like when you were
I agree.
when you were telling how the ratings and all that for it were in the beginning, man, I was just like, I don't understand how it's at 7s and 8s and all that.
Yep.
Well, and the most bonkers thing is that in 2014, the film was selected for preservation at the National Film Registry at the Library of Congress. So there will always be a copy of this movie.
Who was on what at that time?
I don't know, and I totally agree with you, Ed. I don't. Out of all the Coen Brothers movies, I mean, Oh Brother Where Art Thou was next. The Lady Killers, No Country for Old Men, Burn After Reading, True Grit, Hell Caesar, even the tragedy of Macbeth. I just, out of all these movies, I could pick 5 more that I'd watch before this one again.
Because I mean, No Country for Old Men at least had a hell of a story.
Yeah.
And I mean, the only thing I don't like about it is it fell flat on its face at the ending. That's it.
If that movie fell flat on its face, this movie just disappeared.
Tripped and fall down a stairwell.
There was
like this. Have y'all ever seen The Boys?
Okay, let me at least say this. What did you guys think of Donnie's death and then the disposing of the ashes?
His death was kind of.
They added it to just add 10 more minutes of trying to make shits and giggles.
I mean, I will admit that when Walter is like throwing the ashes and like it gets caught up in the wind and it goes into the dude's face, he's just like, seriously, like, I get. I mean, I enjoyed the dark comedy of it, but it's like you say, Craig. Like, why are we doing this?
It doesn't make any sense because Donnie is literally only there to interject in a few moments at the bowling alley. He's not there with them at any other point in the movie trying to dissect what's going on, trying to be a detective. He's literally only at the bowling alley. And they added his death like it was going to make some impactful moment at the end and be like, oh, he died. And it's like, but that is funny, though. They're sprinkling his ashes. Like
That's true. That's a good way of analyzing his death, though, Craig. That you kind of don't feel anything because he didn't have much screen time. Zach, we're going to start with you. What's your favorite scene in this movie?
I'll admit, anytime John Goodman and Jeff Bridges are on screen, I will say that makes the movie for me. Probably, obviously, the over-the-line bowling outrage is probably the best scene in the movie. It cracks me up. I'm sorry, Ed. It just reminds me of you so much as that character. But other than that, that was probably it for me.
Ed, favorite scene?
I gotta say, yeah, the right before Donnie's death scene, for that matter, that was about the only scene that I was like, oh, damn, this is going somewhere. But other than that, to me, there was not much that was like, damn, that pops out and that goes, that goes hard, or that's awesome, or man, not much of it did it for me. So yeah, I've got to say that was the only one that really made itself out there.
If I had to pick a favorite scene or two, it would be where Walter finds the kid's homework and destroys the red car. And then probably the other one would be where Walter and the dude kind of have like the little bit of the argument, and then you get Jeff Bridges, the dude, interacting with Sam Elliott, the one and only scene that he's really in besides the ending. And then of course, stepping over the line scene is real funny. Craig, what about you?
I guess one of the scenes that was the funniest to me was when they picked him out of the old guy out of the wheelchair, the Lebowski guy out of the wheelchair. He's like, he can walk. I know this guy can fucking walk. And he picks him up and he just drops him. Like, that was actually kind of funny to me, but...
And I mean, what made it funnier was the fear that came over his eyes. He's like, no, that was...
Well, I mean, but at that point, like, Walter's so over the top with everything. He just thinks everything's a sham at this point. He's like, if he hasn't given us any money, he's told us everything and it's all been a lie. I know this dude's lying about not being able to walk. He's one of those people. And then it was just, he picks him up and drops him. But like, you think that there's going to be a little bit more after he's like, help me get him up. And then the next thing you know, they're at the bowling alley again. It's like,
I'll say
there's no connecting points.
I know. I'll say another one of the outrage scenes that kind of made me laugh was the diner scene where Walter was like, "I'm gonna finish my coffee," and like by that point, the dude is like, "I'm done." Like, and then he's like cussing up a scene. Is like, "Sir, I'm gonna have to ask you to leave. I'm finishing my coffee. Damn it!" And it's just like those. If there was just more of that, or if it was just, I'd say get rid of Steve Buscemi and just do John Goodman and Jeff Bridges. And just get rid of the stupid mistaken identity. They're just trying to live life. I think it would have been a little bit better.
If they would have made this the Good Guys duo comedy,
yeah, it'd be good.
If this movie gets done today, I say John Goodman has so much impact on that film that he gets an Oscar nod.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
If it's written better.
Star
And
rating.
something else. Craig, how you're talking about Philip Seymour Hoffman just kind of wasted. I feel like that's the same thing with like Sam Elliott in a sense of like, why did you hire Sam Elliott to do like 2 scenes and that's it?
Because he narrated it.
Well, yeah, but he narrated it like twice and that was it. It was the rest of it was just like regular dialogue.
He narrated it like the dude was a well-known guy, and really, it's only one guy who considers himself the dude. And
it was like the myth and the legend of the dude.
He's called himself the dude so much that other people are like, "Fuck it, dude, I'll call you the dude." Like, it's not like he earned that nickname through something else. He's just like, "I'm just
like what
the dude, man."
Is that the scene? Even when he's talking to Sam Elliott, where he's like, "I need another White Russian." He's like, "You got it, dude." Bartenders like that.
He made a White Russian look really good throughout this whole movie, though. I gotta say that. Star rating. This is gonna be fun. Ed, you already gave it a 5. Craig, we'll start with you next. How many stars?
I'm gonna give it a 3.
Oh wow! All right.
Tying with Daredevil, Ben Affleck's, but I would watch Ben Affleck's Daredevil over this 9 times out of 10.
Oof.
We're to get so many hate mails over that comment.
Send it. I don't like it. I love Jeff Bridges, but I do not like this movie at all. The entire time I'm watching it, I'm like, if it wasn't for this episode, I would have already turned it off.
Dang. But you know what? I think that's what makes these episodes so fun.
Yeah.
So what makes it fun. I'm gonna give this movie a 7. It's not as fun as I originally had thought when the first few times that I watched it. But you know what? Watching it this time around, it made me chuckle a time or two, other than maybe checking my phone and saying, man, it's kind of longer than I expected, or it just felt longer than I wanted it to be. I think this movie is still saved by just the cult classicness of the dude, of the characters, John Goodman, Donnie, so maybe because it's a little near and dear, but The Big Lebowski to me gets a 7. Zach, what about you?
Yeah, I'll agree. I'll give it a 7 as well. It's honestly, it's fine material. Honestly, I don't hate it. I don't love it. Like I said, I'd rather watch 5 more Jeff Bridges movies or Joel Coen Brothers movies, John Goodman movies, whatever you want to say it. There are some highlights in this movie, but overall, like I said, it's probably been 10 plus years since I've seen this, and it'll probably be another 10 plus years before I watch it again. So,
guys, let us know what you think of The Big Lebowski. Send us in those emails. I'm going to try to get an email back next week before the top 5 plus 5 episodes, so it's not so girthy, a word that I haven't used in such a long time. But speaking of girthy, next week, The Fabelmans, 2 hours and 30 minutes. It was nominated for Best Picture this year. It got also a lot of other nods as far as Oscar nods go for this year. So we're reviewing it next week. Steven Spielberg's latest movie, The Fabelmans, next Monday, March 27th. We're going to review it right here on the Cine-Men Movie Podcast. Paul Dano, Michelle Williams, Seth Rogen, written, directed, Steven Spielberg. Guys, do you have any thoughts about next week's movie before we head out for today? I think it's everybody's first time watch other than Zach.
Yeah. Hopefully it's better than this one.
It's not on anything streaming yet, but for those of you that are watching or my comrades here, it's on Vudu. You can check it out on my Vudu. Other than that, guys, we only have one more episode left, and then it's on to the best of 2022. Those are always the most fun episodes of the year. So until then, Craig, anything that you want to, any final comments before we leave the dude?
Never again.
Don't send me hate mail because it's just like my opinion, man. And I'm out.
Zach, any final thoughts before we go into the Fablemans?
Like I said, it's fine. I don't ever want to watch it again for a while, so I'm good.
Ed?
I mean, honestly, if I have to say anything, I'm gonna slam the phone down on this right after I tell it to go fuck itself.
All right.
I don't know, man.
Apologies for the language here.
I'm surprised you
said
gave
it
it a
like
5,
3 or
Ed.
4
I'm gonna be
times. You
honest.
said it once or
Ed, I'm surprised you gave it a 5. To be honest, I thought it would be like correct, like 3 or 2.
A 5 is on a good day, and that's because of like some of the shots it had. That's because of the acting and all that. That was good. It's just the story was nowhere.
All right,
But
that's the main reason.
I figured out of everybody here, a stoner like yourself would appreciate this movie.
Dude, well, like I was
Dude.
texting Juan, I was just like, I don't know if I'm missing something. I don't know if I'm looking for something that's not there, or looking for
it's
not seeing something that is.
It's just the legend and the mythology of the dude.
Well, the dude sucks
He's
balls.
the only one that knows of this legend and mythology.
He even
what, like, when everybody was like, "Oh, The Big Lebowski," like, I had heard The Big Lebowski is this great movie. I'm like, okay, so he's built up this repertoire, like he has this reputation, and I come in and he's like, "No, you can call me the dude." I'm like, that's like me going to somebody who's like, "You can call me the greatest of all. You can call me the GOAT." It's like, why are you the GOAT? Because I want you, like, there's no legend of the dude if it's only one person calling himself the dude.
And I mean, that's why you aren't allowed to give your own damn self a nickname. Like no.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Fableman's next week. You guys excited? Steven Spielberg.
More excited about that. Yeah.
Top 5 is
Agreed.
returning. I think we've done a top 5 Steven Spielberg movies before in the past. But you know what? It's a new year.
Revamp.
He's got a bunch of new movies out since we last talked about Steven Spielberg. So next week we're talking our top 5 Steven Spielberg movies of all time. Only 5, unless you have some honorable mentions.
All times.
Next week, right
so
here.
not his entire filmography. I gotta pick
all
5.
5, just 5, Zach. That's all you can do is just 5. Next week, The Fablemans, right here, live on the Cine-Men Movie Podcast. Have a good week, guys. Thank you.